Okay, time for predictions. Let's just jump straight into it. So it's actually been 24 hours since the roster rotated for Halloween Week 1, 2025, October 23, 2025. And I'm going to do the predictions video kind of nice and quick to a point. Let's just bring this up first of all. Naval update has been delayed, but it's now December. That's fine. I'm not going to be upset with that, okay? So, I know we've been hoping that towards the end of this year, we're going to see a lot of people returning to play the game. And of course, around the end of the year, rolling into the next year, New Year's Day, January 2026, post-Christmas, we expect, Ruskin prices to improve ever so nicely. This actually might be a bit better. It could have been a bit of a worry that people probably wouldn't have enjoyed the brand new naval update that much. They might have got a little bit bored of it towards the end of November, and then December might not have been that interesting. However, now that the update's coming out in December, they have all of December to enjoy it, and towards the end of the month, kids are out of school, college, you get the idea? Towards the end of the month, people aren't working as much. There's like that 2-week period where people just aren't really doing that much. They're just chilling, they're relaxing, and I think a lot of people are going to greatly enjoy this brand new update, okay? And if they're having another month dedicated to improving it, even better. So I think all round, that's probably for the best, and it's still looking like the end of this year is going to have a lot of momentum, a lot more people turning up, and a lot more people demanding skins, therefore prices improving ever so nicely. So not going to complain. Cool. So, as I mentioned, it's been 24 hours since the roster was rotated, and we've already got like an early look to see that these skins are selling pretty highly. But that's not surprising. We have seen this in the past with previous Halloween skins. However, I mentioned this a ton, especially last night in my roster rotation video, so by all means, if you'll get a good look at all the brand new skins, give that a good watch. It's expected, with every seasonal update, whether it's Easter, Halloween, Christmas, all the skins are expected to drop off. It's inevitable. Once they're out of season, done. Oh no. So smart build is definitely 100% the way, so do keep that in mind. But yes, are people going to want to dress up as a skeleton in December? Well, probably, but anyway, are people going to want to dress up in Halloween clothing and armor and whatnot when it's like February, April, June? Do you get the idea? Not everybody wants to do that. So there might be some concerns, there might be some worries. But with these, with the early insight, with the first 24 hours of sales, we could question perhaps some of these skins might be selling a little bit too much. Perhaps these skins are selling not that much. So early insight, super helpful, especially with the predictions. I'm not going to, go through the calculations trying to figure out how many sales are going to happen by next week and whatnot. That's for the 48-hour analysis. So, all right, fine, fair enough. And of course, with this roster, we also saw the introduction of 4 wallpaper packs, not just one big one, 4 independent ones, and also the brand new DLC pack for Warhammer. So I've put up a special 3-minute video, short video, showcasing everything in that. We have some brand new storages, some brand new barrels. You can fit 6 barrels in a single square. What? Yeah? Watch the short video right here. I'll link it in the description, and you can see that for yourself. And if you're confused, basically what I'm referencing is this Warhammer DLC pack currently on the Steam store. And do keep this in mind. That's on the Steam store. In the future, that very likely could get a discount. So, ooh, yes. So if you're going to go see the first ever chainsaw skin to be added to Rust with the brand new hazmat, the what's it called again? Death Corpse. It's the Death Core. Someone told me this. It's not Corpse, it's Core. Death Core of Krieg. Didn't know that. I apologise. You get the idea. So consider giving that a good look. I'll link this as well in the description. And you could consider spending $13 yourself. So cool. Let's now take a look at all these skins. So by default, I'm going to point it out once more. I'm going to be very straightforward with you. The expectation is, over the course of the next few months, the skins are all going to go below the rust price. That's not a surprise. But at some point, perhaps next year, you might see certain skins start to rise up in price and whatnot. So if we could just quickly go on SCMM, go to the time notch in the top right there, look at the previous year's skins, you might notice the majority of them are in the negative. So some of them are done quite all right. Some nice early game white camouflage. Cool. A very cool looking fridge. Cool. A lot of anticipation for the potential to see a collection continuation. Cool. But the rest of these, not looking very pretty, unfortunately. You might assume that a lot of people want to dress up and, have some very cool Halloween themes like bases and whatnot. But apparently not. It's not as strong compared to Christmas. Christmas skins do tend to get bought out and rise up in price very noticeably. The Halloween skins, unless it's independently pretty interesting, it most likely won't hold up very well. So the majority in the negative, but some skins do work out quite all right. And when we see collection continuations, we tend to see a bit of a boost. So we'll talk about that in a bit, don't you worry. So, okay, that's cool. But yeah, independently, it has to stand out itself as well. So only a few of the skins in the positive, the majority in the negative. Now, you could go back even further. You could go back to 2023. You could go back to many other Halloween, like Rust stores. But if you go super far back when there's only so many to go around, then yeah, you're going to start seeing a few more skins in the positive. But same thing here. Halloween 2023, 1, 2, 3. Only 3 skins in the positive, the rest not so much. And if you're going to bring up like the items, they're made by Facepunch. They're not skins, they're items made by Facepunch. They get brought back every year, basically. So, okay, cool. Understood. Let's hop back over to here to the Rust store. Let's talk about what potentially could still be a very nice investment. So looking at all these skins, I think the Burlap clothing is probably the best shout, the most reliable option. Now, it also comes with a balaclava, and a balaclavas might be a little bit more questionable, you know, like how often do you actually make a balaclava and all that. Maybe you might feel the need to do so with this, hey? Skeleton costumes, awesome. But I should point out, this is supposed to be a glow-in-the-dark skin. There's been some issues where apparently it doesn't glow in game. I mean, if you watched my rust rotation video, you would have seen that. So there have been issues. Apparently it's been fixed now. And I am concerned that a lot of people bought it and were happy with the fact that it didn't glow. And then when they hop in today and see it glows, they're probably going to be upset. I kind of worried that we might see a lot of these being dumped on the Steam market next week. So be a little bit cautious. But as I said, it is expected that all of these skins are going to go below their Ruster price. But later on, next year at some point, they are expected to recover. So like a perfect example to compare to is last year's Nightmare Clown set. Now that shirt is still down by 10%. But you look over here at the pants and you'll see for yourself that they are in the positive. Yep. All the Burlap pants almost. There's that one, but yeah, all of them are almost in the positive. So like, it's due to a sheer lack of skins being accepted. We don't see that many Burlap clothing pieces being made, but enough there. I should point out that there's a decent amount to a point. But yeah, only one shirt to be accepted this year. Well, one before, and then this is the first pair of pants this year. It's madness, isn't it? But then again, Christmas, we might see more. We'll see. So yeah, that's looking pretty interesting. The balaclava, maybe not so much, but it's definitely going to be a barter situation. And if you saw how the Nightmare Clown behaved last year, learn from this. Whilst this sold for 99 cents, look and see. Initially, it went all the way down to about 50 cents. Slowly rising. A lot of people kind of anticipating for Halloween, and then it dropped off again. So yeah, learn from that. Maybe a 50-cent barter is probably the smart thing to do. We'll take that into consideration when we do the abnormal barters next week. So next Wednesday. Cool. Right. I have made a point in regards to the issues with the glow. So again, it's more of a case of I worry that people are buying it thinking it doesn't glow, and then they're going to be very annoyed when they find out it does glow. So yeah, cool. Okay, so the next thing I probably want to talk about might be the pumpkin boots. Now, please consider watching my rust rotation video where I showcase this. Pumpkin Crocs with socks. We were expecting some very scary things, but anyway, independently, might not appear very special. However, there's a certain collection that we can pair this up with that would probably greatly appreciate these. So once again, consider watching the rust rotation video. Scroll down to the chapters. You can skip ahead to where I talk about the pumpkin boots, because I paired it up with the pumpkin armor collection. The collection made by Mr. Robstar. So this is an independent collection separated from those boots. This is produced by MNML. That's hard to say. But yeah, get a good look at that, and then get a good look at this collection right here. So in the past, for 2022, we saw the Tier 2 being accepted. In 2023, we saw the road sign gloves being accepted. Last year, 2024, we saw the hoodie and pants being accepted. And potentially, next week, we could see the pumpkin jacket being accepted. More specifically, you might have noticed that we got the road sign gloves accepted, but not the boots. How unfortunate that didn't happen, but we potentially could use these instead. And I think people will probably be more than happy to do so. So, in regards to this, it would be nice if it had its own collection, but we still have to wait another year for more skins to be accepted. It can slot itself in to an already existing collection, which, to be honest with you, isn't doing too bad. So if you were to go ahead and look at all the pumpkin armor skins, they're not the best, but they're not doing too bad either. And you might have noticed with the hoodie, we looked at it just a little bit, very briefly. That's actually in the positive right now. There was a lot of anticipation for the possibility of seeing that with the brand new jacket. We were mainly hoping for Tier 3, but that'll probably be next year. So, okay. A full proper collection maybe on the horizon. We shall see. And yeah, you could pair that up with that. Well, no, you could use that instead of this, and I think people are more than satisfied. So, cool. But yeah, keep an eye out. We might see collection continuation next year. But that's next year. So, in reference to talking about that, I now want to talk about all the clothing and armor pieces. I'd also include the backpack. So I'm talking about Tooth Monster head wrap and poncho. I'm talking about the surgeon hat. I'm talking about the backpack. So as long as you see a collection continuation a year later, you know, you might see these spike in demand, spike in price ever so nice. And Tooth Monster is actually a perfect example, even though we were mainly hoping for tier 2 or tier 3. As you'll notice, this did spike in demand, spike in price. In my rust rotation video last night, oh, this went even higher. But after a day, it's kind of dropped off a little bit, so understood. But that's actually in the green. But if you look at this hoodie and pair, like the hoodie and pants pair, you'll notice that the price has just skyrocketed. Last year, when the rust rotated, when we no longer saw Halloween skins anymore for a while, or for another year, this dropped off immensely. Went all the way down to about 50 cents. 50 cents, that sounds like an interesting number. We're saying that a lot, aren't we? So yeah, went all the way down, got very cheap, but once we saw the collection continuation, spike demand, spike to price. This still happens with Halloween skins. This still happens with seasonal skins. And I might need to make a video talking about this more thoroughly. But yep, basically, even though it wasn't tier 2 or tier 3, with it being just a regular primitive collection continuation, this still rose up ever so nicely. So basically, the point I'm trying to get across is, next year, for Tooth Monster, are we going to see more primitive skins, or are we going to see tier 2 or tier 3? It probably doesn't matter, because that very likely will still spike demand, spike price ever so nice. The same applies to the surgeon hat. It's quite unfortunate that we didn't see the balaclava being accepted with it. Not the balaclava, the bandana. Whoopsie. So yeah, for all the people that can't afford surgeon scrubs, we potentially could have been able to make our very own sort of surgeon scrubs. That would have been nice, but nope, that wasn't accepted. How unfortunate. But Diaz, he could resubmit it next year. He could do a different one. All he needs to do is just make more skins to pair up with the surgeon hat, and things could work out very nicely. But not until next year. That's the point. It's a nice thing to get invested into if you could buy in at their cheapest price, which probably will be 50 cents. And then, yeah, wait it out until next year. Fingers crossed. Hope for more continuations. And if they do appear, oh, lovely profit. So, yeah. Tooth, Monster head wrap, poncho, surgeon hat, the possibility of seeing more, very enticing. Now, that would also apply to the pumpkin boots. And I guess you could also apply it to the Devourer backpack. A very goofy, strange, yet scary looking design. Are we going to see Devourer tier 2? Tier 3, hoodie pants and primitive skins next year, we'll see. But yeah, independently, it might have a few more issues, especially considering the fact last year, large backpack became skinnable November 2024. Since then, we have seen 37 large backpack skins becoming skinnable. Absolutely ridiculous. Will things start to slow down now as we start seeing more skinnables being introduced into Rust? Hopefully. Problem is, when we're still seeing them, and with Christmas around the corner, we are expecting even more Christmas skins to be produced. So, oh no, more acceptances. So yeah, all the clothing armor, interesting, promising, and I probably should make an independent video talking about that. So cool. Now looking at all the other skins, again by default, still expecting them all to drop off. I think the rock might be pretty interesting. It's a very goofy, strange design. I looked at in-game. It doesn't glow in the dark. It's a very, very, very strange design, but it's been accepted. I called him Larry, but if you compare to the previous rocks that if we compare to the previous rocks we saw last year, or in the past year and last year, we've seen some very goofy animal designs, some cute faces, some silly designs, but with so many rocks being accepted in the past 2 years, the majority of the skins, they're in the negative, and it is becoming a bit of a problem. So with you're selling for the standard price of $2, you're not abnormal. The only 2 skins this week that are not abnormal are the pumpkin boots and this rock. So, maybe you might be a little bit better compared to some of these other skins, because with the sales that you had so far, with the first 24 hours of sales, it looks like you're barely going to reach 10,000 subscribers. But then again, these 2 did around the similar amount. They're not doing too good at the moment. Not terrible, but not the best. Down 18%, down 12%. Again, bilders are the way to go, 100%. So yeah, for all the skins, bilders are the way to go. Now, with these 2 skins right here, a locker and a fridge, we keep seeing far too many lockers being accepted. We see far too many fridges being accepted. More so fridges. Look at the lockers, and as you'll see, lots of very cool, lovely looking designs. But because so many of them have been accepted this year, they're not special. It's hard to compare, and if we have too much to compare to independently, it's hard for these to maintain your interest. Because if you're not interested, you're not buying, and then therefore the prices are struggling. Now, around January time, with the expectation of the NAVAL update happening later this year, maybe things could be better. Fingers crossed. But yeah, for something that used to be a rare sight to see, we're now probably seeing far too many. So yeah, the design of it though, again, watch the rust rotation video. It does look cool. There's another thing that you have to kind of address. Do skins look too gimmicky towards the season that they come out for? Like for Halloween period, this is awesome. A very gothic, very ritualistic, scary looking locker. But it's not like it's got tons of pumpkins all over it and whatnot, if you know what I'm saying. Perhaps this could be used for any sort of base and people would be happy with that. It technically wouldn't be out of season. But this spooky harvest fridge, again, very befitting for Halloween. Lovely stuff. Pumpkins, skulls, potions, spiders, cobwebs. Might not be the best for any other day of the year. And with this being number 17 for 2025, yes, we've had 17 fridge skins being accepted in just 2025 alone. Basically, it's starting to build up to a bigger problem. And also, the vast majority of skins, fridge skins, have been accepted in just this year. 33 in total, 17 accepted this year. What is going on? We still have Christmas. We very likely could reach up to 20 fridge skins being accepted in just a single year, which would have been absolutely insane to hear if I told you that any other year. Because we used to hardly see anything being accepted. But, well, here we are. This is 2025. So, okay, cool. These are looking a bit problematic. That one probably could be quite all right. Sales, though, got to keep an eye on that. But you, being very gimmicky towards Halloween, do not be surprised if this ends up being the cheapest fridge out of all the other skins. These two very likely won't go down too bad, but they will still go down. So, yeah, cool. Collection continuations next year, though? Maybe. Keep an eye out. Now, over to here. Speaking of collection continuations, this is a collection continuation to the AK-47 from the previous year, but that is not looking very good. Wow. That sold for $3 last year. Now it sits there at 82 cents. And with this being LR300 skin, well, what do you reckon I'm going to say? What do you reckon I'm going to say? Yeah, I'm not feeling very confident with that. I'm sorry to say. Like, yeah, that's, no. If people aren't using the weapon that much, where's the justification to own skins for it? Yeah, you get the idea. That looks like it's being manipulated, so be a little bit cautious. So, all right, cool. So, I've saved the furnace for sort of last. I've got to talk about that independently. I'm confused and worried about this furnace. 24 hours of sales. This did over 31,000 subscribers. What? But I'm not surprised as well because the design is incredibly unique, extraordinary. It is a transparent design. That looks like it's a ghost. It literally looks like it's floating in the air. I don't think we're going to see anything like this ever being produced ever again, or rather, at the very least, accepted. Because I have seen designs like this being produced in the past, but they weren't accepted. But now, yes, it has. Compare this to all the other fridges. I wouldn't be surprised if people very likely want to keep that in their base. Like, they want that. They want that. They crave that. All the other furnaces, bleh, don't like them anymore. I want this one. I do believe the majority of the sales here are people that actively want to have this in their base. So, is it going to be a mainstay? Or, from here and now, are Facepunch going to be a whole lot more lenient with transparency on fridges, furnaces? Well, they are transparent with fridges. We saw that last week. And this one here. So, yeah. We have noticed it with other deplorables this year. Is this going to be something we're going to see a whole lot more of? And here's another question. What would work for a transparent furnace design? What would you consider? What would actually work other than a ghost? Because I don't think there's that many other options. And I don't think that's going to be happening as much from here now. We'll see. Like, you could make like a stand. You could make like an animal standing on its legs or something. I don't know. But we'll see, okay? But that has got currently 32,000 subscribers. And as a very, very, very rough estimate, because I'm not doing the calculations until 48-hour analysis, that could probably reach up to 60,000 subscribers. And if that happens, that has sold more than every single Cena-type large box skin this year. 30,000 plus in 24 hours of sales. By all means, comment below. Did you buy one because you saw it and you thought, wow, that's amazing, I need it? I think that's what most people have been like. I don't blame them. It looks awesome. But if we see other competing, interesting, transparent furnace designs in the future, that very likely will drop off. And with so many skins being purchased, there will be so many of them appearing on the Steam market and, of course, third-party sites. The price very likely could struggle. So, yeah, that could be a bit of a problem. That's up to you how you approach that. That's abnormal. Every skin here, except the boots and the rock, are abnormal, okay? So keep that in mind. Might not be too bad. Get those early barders in. We'll see what happens next. And now, for last, we have this skin right here. Bone Cultist Garage Door. I can't give you a price suggestion because, technically speaking, I was involved with this. Not literally with the actual design and, you know, the production and development of the skin, but basically, you probably noticed that this was made in reference to Mr. Shadowhopper with his efforts to see bone walls being accepted into Rust. And I noticed him last year and I thought, wow, we've got to help him out. So for Halloween 2024, we did the bone wall protest. And, well, we actually got noticed. Oh, yes, yes, indeed we did. And with great help from Monstera, she designed Alistair. We protested under him. Shadowhopper shot a rocket launcher at him. That's pretty funny. But anyway. So, in regards to all of this, consider watching this video. I'll link it in the description. And basically, let's just go show you Mr. Shadowhopper. Every single day, he's been asking for bone walls. And earlier this year, he actually got a response. Because for day 365, on January 10, 2025, Facepunch responded. On the official Rust Twitter account, as you can see here, they showed him off concepts for the idea of a building skin. And also, concepts for potentially like an actual barricade or a wall design. Bone walls! So, unfortunately, that didn't appear this year for Halloween. I mean, you never know, maybe some point in the future. The fact that we actually got the garage door accepted was probably a nice sort of bit of like a positivity, perhaps. But yeah, imagine if we could get like a brand new building skin. Consider it would. I honestly believed that could have been like the wood building skin for Halloween. You know how we have gingerbread for Christmas? You get it for free, but you can only use it during that time period. You get the idea. So, hey, it is what it is. We'll see what happens in the future. But anyway, after seeing that happen, I started thinking, started plotting. And well, basically, I approached Monstera. So Monstera is one of the admins on the Art of Rust server, you know, where we did the protest. She's the one who drew Alistair. And I was like, well, you know what? After getting what appears to be confirmation, not at the moment, we'll see as, you know, as time goes on, why don't we go ahead and make an actual skin for Halloween 2025? Yep. About 10 months ago, this happened. And of course, as time went on, Mr. Uncle, the man behind the Island Assault collection, he had been visiting my streams, he's been talking to people, that was nice. But when I was considering making a Twitch drop for myself, he actually offered to make it. But eventually I thought, you know what, I'm probably better off doing it with Mr. Milho Frito, the man who's been here since day one, the very first Ruster where we saw the first workshop skins being accepted. It was a better fit. But I remembered this. And basically I thought, you know what, we could pair them up in a group, Monstera, Uncle, and they can make a fantastic skin. So I gave them the prompt once again, and they got to work. Mr. Uncle, with his absolutely amazing sculpting to get everything all nice and prepared, the background scene, you know, everything, he did a fantastic job. And then Monstera, with the ever so exquisite finesse, the finishing touch, to bring it to life, she did a fantastic job. So I'm sure you're fully well aware of Monstera. She has got her own Twitch drop earlier this year. Fantastic artist, probably the most well-known artist in all of Rust, so look at that lovely piece of work. And then, of course, we eventually got to the actual design. So consider giving that a good watch on my Rust rotation video. But over to here. Here's the real deal. What do you reckon? I can't offer you a price suggestion. I can't offer you an expectation of how it's going to turn out. But you're in the seat now. You tell me. What do you think? Do you like it? Are you a fan? Feel free to comment below. And also consider going over to here. Offer a nice little comment. I mean, Alistair did. So, yeah, that's it. Just a fun little reference to a fun little event that we did in Art of Rust. And you're more than welcome to join Art of Rust as well. Everybody's welcome. Just don't be, you know, awful. Just be creative. Have fun. Draw some other, you know, lovely looking things. And apparently it's open season drawing silly things with Alistair. So, I wonder what's going to happen Christmas time. We're going to have a Santa Alistair, aren't we? Skin creators is in your hands. All right, cool. So that's that. That's all the skins. Let's talk about things that we're probably going to see potentially in the near future. So with the NAVAL update being delayed, you've got to keep an eye on the commits, all right? Keep an eye on the commits. They're very likely to be talking more about what they're working on, improving. You get the idea. Now, something we've noticed is an artist DLC pack. So, ooh, paintball gun. Oh, don't mind if I do. So, if you're not very good at art, you're still at the very least getting a paintball gun. Cool. But in talks, in regards to like, you know, brand new Skinnables, I mentioned it earlier. Next month, November, handmade LMG. The month after that, December, tactical gloves. We probably have a good insight for what might be appearing next year. January 2026, maybe? The wolf headdress has apparently been updated and it has improved skinning. Maybe we're looking too far into this. Maybe it might be wrong. But it's interesting to see it was mentioned. But then again, a lot of other things have also been mentioned as well. So we'll see what happens there. We'll keep an eye out. But I know for a fact a lot of people do want to see the wolf headdress become skinnable. So we'll see what happens there. So, all right, that's cool. Player count is improving. So let's just quickly refresh. Oh, yeah. Doing good, doing good. November might not be as impactful as we hoped for. But now we're expecting that to be December. And hopefully people don't get like burned out roaming around in the boats just in like the first 2 weeks of December. Hopefully they enjoy it throughout the whole entire month. And hopefully as we roll into January Force Wipe, January 1st, 2026, we'll see a lot of people turning up. And with so many people potentially appearing, we could see some brand new all-time high prices for Ruskins, okay? So everything is still lining up very nicely, still being optimistic. But if you are aware of what happened in Counter-Strike recently, some people believe that prices are dropping off with Ruskins because they think people are trying to get funds to go ahead and try and trade up to knives in Counter-Strike 2. And if you aren't fully well aware of that, I mean, if you're concerned about the prices with Ruskins, you should be grateful it's not Counter-Strike. So perhaps we might have seen a bit of an impact with some of the Ruskins already, but it's still October. We were still expecting prices to be bad anyway. With the optimism for the end of this year, I truly think things are going to work out quite all right. Things are looking interesting. So, okay, that's it. That's a wrap. So consider keeping an eye on my Twitter as well. Always posting interesting things. Well, interesting things the best I can. New things are being worked on. It looks like we're getting another sort of like meta shift update, a sequel to it. Because if we're not going to see the naval update for November, it looks like it's going to be pivot or die. Tweaks are being made again to try and make sure people are satisfied with the changes with the blueprint fragments. Taxes are gone. Oh. So, are people going to be pleased with this, or are they going to be even more upset? Facepunch is still testing things out. We'll see how it goes. But yep, once again, naval update. It's now for December. And that's it. That's a wrap. So thank you very much for watching me. I greatly appreciate it. And once again, if you want to go see the brand new Warhammer DLC pack, consider watching the short video. It'll be linked in the description. And that's everything. In regards to wallpaper packs, the best thing we can do is wait until the abnormals, and then we'll talk about that, because we don't know how many have sold, but we're also anticipating Christmas wallpapers. We know that's happening. We know it's going to happen. 4 brand new Christmas themed wallpaper packs as well. Oh my. So, yeah. Next week, abnormals. Look in the description. You'll see the links to all my socials, more specifically my Twitch. Wednesday night, I will be talking. We'll discuss what we want to do, what we want to offer. Sounds good? Right. So catch you later. See you. Goodbye.